take a look at how the interface of After Effects is designed so you can begin to get comfortable navigating the application. I'm going to be working in a project I've already built, but please feel free to follow along using any After Effects project. Now it's important to note there are many different panels, buttons, switches, and options to the interface. And in this video, we'll be focusing on the main elements of the interface to get you up and running quickly. To determine how the elements are laid out within the interface, we need to first set our workspace. So in the menu bar, I'm going to go to Window, Workspace, and make sure I'm set to the standard workspace. Different workspaces are designed for different job tasks. For example, if I were doing a text-heavy animation, I might use the text workspace. But again, we'll make sure we're in the standard workspace, and if your interface still doesn't look right, you can come down here and reset standard to its original saved layout. Now I want you to come to the upper left portion of the interface and click once to make sure this panel is active. This panel is the project panel, and I know that because its name is in the upper left corner, and to the right of the name, you'll see 3 lines. If you click on those 3 lines, that'll give you access to the panel menu, which gives you settings specific to the individual panel. You'll notice these lines repeated throughout the different panels in the interface. Now the project panel is where you'll import and organize all the elements you'll be using to build your After Effects projects. Now in this project, I've already organized everything into folders. So I'm going to go down to the bottom folder where it says video footage, and to look in that folder, I'll click the triangle to the left of the folder, and then I'll just click once on the top video clip, and that'll load up a preview here in the top of my project panel, and it also shows me some important settings about the format of that file itself. Now when you're working in After Effects and building elements, you'll be building things called compositions. At the top of the project panel, I have the AA Compositions folder, and in there, I have the Tour the Interface composition. So if I double click on that icon, notice now the timeline is active. And the timeline and the composition panel, which is right here in the middle of the interface, work together in conjunction. The timeline is divided up into 2 sections. The left side allows you to stack layers vertically, one on top of the other. So if I want to select a layer, I can just click once on that layer and I know it's selected because it's bright white. I can turn its visibility off here on the left-hand side by clicking on the eyeball or clicking it again to turn it back on. Now if I want to change where this layer appears vertically, I can click on that layer and drag it down to the bottom of the timeline, and when I let go, now you notice it's hidden under all the other layers, so I can't see it. If I want to undo the last thing I did, I can press Ctrl-Z on Windows or Command-Z on the Mac to undo. You can press that multiple times to go back multiple steps. Now on the right side of the timeline, this determines where the layers appear over time. And you notice this blue line has an element on top that if I hover over top, it tells me it's the current time indicator. The menu that popped up is called a tooltip, and they're on by default. So if you're ever not sure what something is, just hover over top of it. Now the current time indicator determines exactly what frame we're going to be viewing in the composition panel. So if I click on this and drag left or right in the timeline, notice I'm viewing different frames in my composition panel. Notice also as I slide over different layers, we can see other elements in our composition. To know exactly what frame you're on, you want to look in the lower left corner of the composition panel. Here, this will tell you, or in the upper left corner of the timeline itself. As you're working in the interface of After Effects, you might want to look in the upper right corner in the info panel because you'll get little menu items letting you know what it was you last completed. Now you may have noticed we're working in kind of a circle, starting with the project panel, then to the timeline, then the composition panel. Now I'm on the right side in the info panel, and if we come all the way back up to the start of our circle here in the upper left area, we have the toolbar. The toolbar allows you to add different elements to your projects. For example, I could add a rectangle into here, or I could add cameras, I could add paintbrush strokes. You get the general idea. Honestly, 90% of the time when I'm working in After Effects, I'm using this leftmost tool here called the selection tool. And looking at the tooltip, I can see if I press V on my keyboard, that will grab that tool. Now you may have noticed, whenever you click on an object, you've made it selected. So layer 1 is selected when I double clicked on the composition. That is selected when I clicked in the timeline. That panel is active. So when you're working in After Effects, it's very important that you pay close attention to where you're clicking and what is selected, because there will be different menu options made available depending on which panel